International Tennis Federation, I would like to bid you a very warm welcome to the draw for the 2015 Davis Cup by BNP Paribas. Now, in 2014, there were 126 nations entered for the Davis Cup, and this event remains the largest annual team competition in sport, which is really quite remarkable when you consider the number of sports we get involved in and watch right through the year. It is also celebrating the 115th year of Davis Cup in 2015. Now, following last weekend's semi-finals, the 2014 World Group Final will see France hosting Switzerland, and that's on the 21st to the 23rd of November. Just some background there, and if any Stambach here, you can close your ears. The head-to-head between the two nations is 10-2 in France's favor, and the last time the two nations met was back in 2004 in Switzerland, and the French won 3-2, and that was a World Group quarterfinal. It's going to be an amazing final when you consider the top 10 players that are involved: Roger Federer, Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, Stan Wawrinka, and the rest of the French team like Richard Gasquet and Gaël Monfils. Today, we're going to conduct the draw for the 2015 World Group, and for all Zone Groups 1 and Zone Groups 2 for Americas and Asia-Oceania. The draw for Europe-Africa Group 2 will be held following the October ties. Now, I think we want to see some of the highlights of this great Davis Cup competition. Pretty amazing stuff, isn't it? Atmosphere, drama, passion. That's what Davis Cup is all about. Now, we have many dignitaries here with us today, including members of the Davis Cup Committee. So please allow me to introduce them. And we start with the chairman of the Davis Cup Committee from Spain, Juan Marguets. And the members of the committee from the United States, Katrina Adams. From Argentina, Amanda Savone, from Australia, Steve Healy, from Great Britain, Charles Tripp, and from Serbia, a Davis Cup player in his day as well, Bobo Zivoninovic. All the committee members here have extensive knowledge of tennis administration as well as excellent on-court experience. Now, please welcome the President of the International Tennis Federation, Francesco Riccibetti, to the podium.
Thank you, Craig, and ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good evening. And I'm glad again to welcome to this important event, the ceremony for the draw of the 116 Davis Cup edition here in the Emirates for the first time. And let me thank again for their generous hosting, the friend of the Tennis Emirates here, and in particular the Vice President representing all the tennis family of this country. As I said, Davis Cup was donated by an American player, Dwight Davis, and the aim was to foster the relations through sport between different countries. And on top of that, to give the opportunity to the individual player, like the tennis players, to represent their own country. These values are still very, very important today. And in fact, we are coming from a great weekend, 2 semi-finals with about 100,000 spectators watching, great passion, great atmosphere in Switzerland, in Geneva, and in Paris, Roland Garros. We look forward to have another years like this year, and we look forward first to the final of this year in France between two great teams, France and Switzerland. The Davis Cup has beaten many records, and as has already been said, it's the most important team annual competition in sport, with more than 120 nation participation. I would like also myself to thank many people. The Davis Cup committee has already been introduced that works and try to save and to defend the integrity of this great competition. I would like to thank also the representative of the nation. I believe tonight, I cannot mention all of them, but I believe tonight I see so many presidents and top officers of all the federation in the work group. It's a good sign. We have the annual general meeting here, but I would like to thank them because they give importance and they show their interest in our competition again. I cannot miss to mention our sponsor. Without them, Davis Cup would not be so successful. And first of all, our main sponsor, BNP Paribas. I was just told that the representative that planned to be here at the end, they are not here. They cannot be with us, but they are with us with the spirit. And all this company is supporting tennis since more than 40 years and is very keen to support Davis Cup and Fed Cup. And in fact, next year their campaign on sport will be based on our two competitions. I would like to thank also the international sponsor, Adecco, Rolex, NEH Hotel, and the international partner, Wilson Sport Goods. Before I hand over to Stefan Fransson for conducting the draw, that will be surely very exciting for many people here, I would like to thank again the Tennis Emirates for this wonderful hospitality and for the organization of this AGM. I look forward to this draw. Please, Stefan.
Thank you. Thank you, Francesco. We will start this draw ceremony with the zone groups, and we will start there with the Americas Zone Group 2. Bobo is going to help me with this draw, so if you could please come up. Thank you. This group has got 8 nations, so we will start with putting the top-seeded nation, the number 1 seeded nation, at the top of the draw on line 1, Venezuela. And at the bottom on line number 8, we put Chile. We've then seeded 3 and 4, Mexico and El Salvador. And the first drawn of those will be put on line number 3. And here we have El Salvador. And that should mean, we hope, that we will have Mexico going on line number 6. We have 4 more nations in this group. They are Bolivia, Costa Rica, Peru, and Puerto Rico. The first drawn is to play Venezuela. Venezuela to play Costa Rica. Hold on. We need to decide who gets the choice of ground.
The choice of ground will be decided by lot.
So now, since they have not played each other since 1970, almost 40 years, in home and away competition, we need to draw who's getting the choice of ground. There are 2 small tennis balls here, one with a T for top and one with a B for bottom here. And a snake, no, sorry. So we got top, which means that choice of ground goes to Venezuela. Now, you can take the next one. And this is to play El Salvador, Puerto Rico. And choice of ground there?
Choice of ground will be for Puerto Rico.
Choice of ground will be for Puerto Rico. And then to play Mexico, we have Bolivia. And choice of ground?
Choice of ground will be decided by lot.
By lot. So we need to take another one here. Well, you can keep that one, since it's the last one. And here we have bottom, so choice of ground goes to Mexico. And finally in this group, to play Chile, Peru. With a choice of ground?
Choice of ground will be for Chile.
Sorry?
Choice of ground will be for Chile.
Chile, okay, that's fine. No, you're gone. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bobo. We will then move over to Asia-Oceania Group 2. Armando will come up and help with that one. Again, it's a group with 8 nations. So we put on the top line the seeded number 1 nation, which is actually a match that hasn't been played yet. So it's either Chinese Taipei or New Zealand. The loser of that tie in October. And on line 8, Pakistan. Seed 3 and 4, Pakistan and Indonesia. First one to line 3. Philippines. And that means on line 6, Indonesia, I hope. And then again, we have 4 unseeded nations: Iran, Kuwait, Lebanon, and Sri Lanka. First drawn on line number 2. Lebanon. And since we don't know the combinations there, we will just, in case, draw a top or bottom, in case whoever wins there, they haven't played before. So in case, top. And then we have to play the Philippines, Sri Lanka. And the choice of ground there goes to?
Choice of ground for the Philippines.
Choice of ground to the Philippines. The opponents to Indonesia, Iran. With the choice of ground?
Choice of ground for Indonesia.
Choice of ground goes to Indonesia there. And the last nation in Asia-Oceania Group 2 to play Pakistan, we have Kuwait.
Choice of ground for Pakistan.
And the choice of ground there goes to Pakistan. Thank you, Armando. We're then moving on to the Americas Group 1. Katrina is going to help me there. Thank you. So this group has only 5 nations in it. We will start with putting the seeded 1 and 2, top and bottom, like in all other groups. So on top line, Colombia. And then on line 8, Ecuador. With 5 nations in the group, we are needing 3 buys. And they go to the seeded nations first. So on line 2, we put a bye. On line 7, another bye. And then the third bye is either going to go on line 4 or line 5 in this draw. So I've got 2 numbered chips here, 4 and 5. So let's start with that. 4. So we put a bye on line 4. Good. Now, in this group, we also have a situation where 2 nations have played each other for 2 consecutive years, Dominican Republic and Uruguay. And then the Davis Cup regulation states that they should be drawn in different halves of the draw this year. So the way we will do that, I'll put Dominican Republic and Uruguay in the trophy. The first drawn of these 2 will go on line number 3. So we will have on line number 3, Uruguay. And the other one will go on line number 6. So on line number 6, we will have the Dominican Republic. So now there's 1 empty line, and we have 1 nation missing in this group. So on line 5, without the draw, we will put Barbados. And that completes the draw, except for we might have a choice of ground there. Barbados, Dominican Republic.
Choice of ground for Barbados.
So choice of ground there goes to Barbados. And we also have a choice of ground, probably there in the second round, Colombia and Uruguay. Colombia versus Uruguay.
Choice of ground for Uruguay.
And in that one, the choice of ground goes to Uruguay. That's done. Thank you very much, Katrina. Moving on to another Group 1, Asia Oceania. Juan, this is yours. This group has 6 nations. So we will start again with the seeded 1 and 2. On line 1, seed 1, Uzbekistan. Line 8, India. Both of those nations gets a bye. So on line 2, a bye, and on line 7, a bye. And then from the top down, so on line 3, we'll draw the first one out of China, Korea, Thailand, and the winner of Chinese Taipei, New Zealand. So please, for line number 3. So on line 3, we put Korea to play. Thailand. And with a choice of ground to?
Choice of ground for Thailand.
And the choice of ground there goes to Thailand. And for lines 5 and 6, on line 5, China. And there is one left. Hopefully we can. So that is the winner of Chinese Taipei and New Zealand. So again, just in case, we will draw a choice of ground, which might not be needed at the end when we know who's going to play that tie. In case it's needed, it's top. So in case, we'll have choice of ground for China. Thank you, Juan. Then moving on to Europe-Africa Group 1. Steve and Charles going to help with this one. Takes 2. It's a bigger group. As you can see, this is a group with 13 nations in it. And we will again start with the top seeded nations. So at the top, on line 1, Spain. And on line 16, Ukraine. In this group, we need 2 more seeds, Netherlands and Israel. First one goes on line 5. So on line 5, we will have the Netherlands. And then on line 12, we will have Israel. And since this is a 16 draw and we have 13 nations, we need 3 byes. So we will put a bye for the top seeded 2 nations. So line 2 gets a bye. Line 15 gets a bye. And the third bye goes to the third seeded nation, which in this case is the Netherlands. So another bye on line number 6. And after that, we have 9 remaining nations. I'll see if I can get all. Those nations are Austria, Denmark, Lithuania, Poland, Romania, Russia, Slovakia, Slovenia, and the winner of Latvia or Sweden. So we draw between those 9, and we'll start with line number 3. Thank you. On line number 3, Russia. To play, Denmark. And the choice of ground there goes to?
Choice of ground will go to Russia.
So choice of ground to Russia. And the next drawn will go on line 7. So we will have on line 7, Austria. And they will play. The winner of Sweden or Latvia. And there we will do like we did in the other ties, where we don't know who's actually going to play. We draw just in case, choice of ground. So if needed, choice of ground to Austria. Then we continue to the bottom half of this group. So on line 9, we have Slovakia to play Slovenia.
Choice of ground will be decided by lot.
So then we need to draw for choice of ground. So choice of ground goes to the top nation of those, so to Slovakia. Next drawn is the opponent of Israel. So to play Israel, we have Romania.
Choice of ground will be for Romania.
Choice of ground to Romania. We should have 2 nations left to play each other. Lithuania. And the last nation in Euro-Africa 1, Poland.
Choice of ground will be for Poland.
The choice of ground to Poland. And it's empty?
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much. So only 1 draw left, Francesco, the whole group. there we have the world group. So this year's finalists, France and Switzerland, are the top-seeded nations. So on line 1, France, and on line 16, Switzerland. Seeded 3 and 4, Czech Republic and Serbia. First drawn of those goes on line number 5. On line 5, the Czech Republic. Thank you. And on line 12, Serbia. Seeds 5 and 6. Argentina and Italy. First drawn on line 7. Thank you. On line 7, we put Italy, which means that on line 10, we should have, we do, Argentina. Two remaining seeded nations in the world group for 2015, USA and Canada, seeded 7 and 8. First drawn of those two goes on line number 3. So on line number 3, we put USA, which leaves the last seeded spot on line number 14. For Canada. Thank you. Too difficult to take 8 balls at one time. These 8 balls have the remaining 8 world group nations, and we will draw them from the top to the bottom here. So the first drawn out of those 8, which are Australia, Belgium, Brazil, Croatia, Germany, Great Britain, Japan, and Kazakhstan. The first one drawn to play France. So, in March 2015, to play France, Germany.
Choice of ground will go to Germany.
And that choice of ground goes to Germany. Now to play the United States. Great Britain.
Choice of ground will go to Great Britain.
The choice of ground there goes to Great Britain. Next one, to play the Czech Republic. Australia.
Choice of ground will go to Czech Republic.
Next one drawn, to play Italy. Italy to play Kazakhstan.
Choice of ground will be decided by lot.
Okay, so we'll use these ones. Italy or Kazakhstan? Kazakhstan. Now to the bottom half of the world group. The opponents to Argentina. Brazil.
Choice of ground will go to Argentina.
Choice of ground to Argentina. Now to play Serbia. Croatia.
Choice of ground will go to Serbia.
Choice of ground there goes to Serbia. To play Canada. Japan.
Choice of ground will go to Canada.
Choice of ground to Canada. And finally, to play Switzerland. Should be one left. Belgium.
Choice of ground will go to Belgium.
And that choice of ground goes to Belgium. Thank you, Francesco. That completes the draw. Thank you very much.
Bobo, have you got some sort of ESP or what? Seems like it. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the International Tennis Federation, I want to thank you very, very much for joining us here this evening as we look forward to an exciting and brilliant 2015 Davis Cup by BNP Paribas competition. Thank you very much, and as we say in Davis Cup, show your colors. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.